guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I hope you consider pressing that red subscribe button below and also following me on Instagram. I've noticed that some of you will try and reach out to me via the comment section with questions or what have you, and unfortunately I don't always see those or see them in time. However, if you do follow me on Instagram and direct message me with any of those questions, then I'm usually able to get to you much quicker than I would in the comment section. Another thing, guys, is that please be sure to stick until the end of today's video because I will be presenting you with a challenge. So today's video comes with some not so great news, and that is about some things here in the Netherlands that are ridiculously expensive. So yes, I've noticed that there are some things here in the Netherlands that me as an American goes, why is that so expensive? And those are the things that we'll be talking about in today's video. So let's get right into it. So the first thing is owning a car. Owning a car in the Netherlands is very expensive. I mean, even just getting a driver's license can cost thousands of euros. So by the time you pay for your driving lessons, and I've included a cost sheet here of the actual prices of the lessons at the driving school that I'm going to, I mean, it's so pricey. So I'm very lucky because I have my US driver's license. I don't have to take as many driving classes. What I'm doing right now is more so just to be familiar and comfortable with the traffic rules here in the Netherlands. So I'm thankful that I don't have to take all the classes and pay the exorbitant amount because it's really expensive. It's interesting because I've noticed that there's so many driving schools here in the Netherlands. And I mean, I can see why, because it's such a lucrative business. Don't think, or at least I can count on one hand how many driving schools I've seen in the US, and more than anything I can count how many people actually go to driving school. More of what people do is that you get taught how to drive by your parents or your uncle or aunt or siblings. I mean, I was taught how to drive by Randy, which I'm not even sure if a family member can teach you how to drive or if you have to learn how to drive through a driving school. That's an interesting one. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section. But like I said, you pay nowhere near as much, if nothing at all, for driving lessons in the US because you get taught by a family member. And here in the Netherlands, it's super expensive because I think most, if not all people, have to go through a driving school to learn how to drive. So cars are expensive, not only to purchase, but things like parking, insurance, gas. Oh my goodness, don't even get me started on the price of gas here in the Netherlands. It's very, very expensive for all these items. It's way more expensive than it is in the US. So just so you guys can get a better idea, I'm gonna go ahead and put a price of a gallon of gas in my city in the US versus the price of a gallon of gas here in the Netherlands as it stands today, which is 17th May. Obviously, they don't sell gas by the gallon here in the Netherlands, but I've converted it for you guys so you can get a better picture. It's so expensive. So luckily, you can bike just about everywhere, and they also have an awesome public transportation system as an alternative to purchasing a car and having to pay all the costs that are associated with it. Next thing that is expensive are the train tickets. Now, I know I just mentioned how amazing their public transportation system is, but the train tickets can be pretty expensive, especially if you're not applying one of the discounts. So if you're riding outside of rush hour times, your ticket prices can be reasonable. However, if you are riding during rush hour, a lot of the discounts that you can typically get are not applicable at that time, and the prices you'll be paying, especially based on the distance that you're going to be traveling, it can be quite high for a ticket. So I can only imagine how much tourists or people who may be new here in the Netherlands spend on these tickets when they buy them directly from the ticket machines because they may not be aware that you can get discounts on them. It must be quite a lot. The next thing also has to do with transportation, and that is Ubers and taxis. Ubers and taxis are super, super pricey here. When we first got here, we used Uber a handful of times, and just to go what felt like 5 minutes can cost a lot. If I'm not mistaken, you're already charged something just to sit down in the Uber, and then that meter just goes up so fast. They're just really expensive, and they're also a mega luxury here in the Netherlands, and I can't say that many Dutch people take Ubers or taxis a lot, if at all. So if you're traveling to the Netherlands and you see the Ubers and taxis that are parked outside the airport or the train station, I would definitely advise that, not that you shouldn't take them if you can afford them and are fine with it, but just make sure you understand so you know what you're getting yourself into. So not that you get into a situation where you're expecting the prices to be similar to what they are from where you came from, and then you end up paying 3 or 4 times as much. In fact, if I can be perfectly honest, I don't think I've ever seen an Uber out here in Dordrecht. Maybe they do have them. I have seen taxis, but I haven't seen Ubers out here. So I'm not even sure if they run. I'm not sure if you wanted to order one from your place in Dordrecht to the airport in Schiphol, you could get one, or you would have to take a taxi. But either which way, I'm sure if you got one of the two, you'd be paying a lot of money. Another one is clothes. So specifically name brand clothes. So I'm talking about brands like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. They tend to be cheaper in the US and more expensive here in the Netherlands. And just to make sure we're on the same page, I'm not talking about Primark or any of the super cheap clothing brands. In the US, you have stores like TJ Maxx or Marshalls that will sell these designer brands, and they'll sell them a lot cheaper than what I've noticed here. And even the official stores will have products cheaper in the US than the stores that I've noticed here in the Netherlands. Even brands like Ralph Lauren are much cheaper in the US than they are here. I think I was at the store the other day and noticed that a Ralph Lauren polo shirt was running for about 80 euros, and you would never pay that much for it in the US. Weirdly enough, I read that companies like Adidas and Puma were originally German companies, but you will still find their items more expensive here in Europe than you would in the US. So I don't know why exactly that is, but maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section. So just to emphasize, they do have the option for cheap clothes here, but if you want to have the expensive name brand stuff and don't like to shop in the companies like Primark, then it'll definitely be a good amount more expensive than in the US to get your name brand items. And the fifth thing that is ridiculously expensive here in Netherlands is the rent in Amsterdam. Oh my goodness. And this is mostly for the rent of apartments, because I'm not entirely sure if they even have actual houses in Amsterdam. But it is absolutely mind-blowing to me how much the rent is in Amsterdam, and especially what you're getting. So in terms of like square footage, etc., for the price that you're paying. Now, I'm not entirely sure the exact numbers, but it seems like to get something that is somewhat decent in Amsterdam, then at the very minimum, you're paying 17 to 1800 euros a month. And keep in mind that if you're first moving to a place, you have those initial costs that are associated with moving to an apartment. So you have to put down your first month's rent, your last month's rent, a deposit, which would be equivalent to a month's rent. And then, you know, if you had an agent that helped you find the apartment, then you have to pay them their fee, which is also usually sometimes equivalent to a month's rent. And don't forget that you also have to cover your utilities. So everything from water to electricity to the internet, it adds up so quickly. And don't forget that you have to eat, you know, have some form of entertainment, and hopefully save by the end of all of this. You know, I assume a big chunk of what you earn from your salary would surely go towards your rent and living expenses. Well guys, that's it for today's video. I really appreciate your support on the channel. I've been having so much fun getting to interact with you guys in the comment section. As always, please don't forget to leave any more things that you feel are expensive here in the Netherlands in the comment section. And so as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, to watch until the end. If you did, thank you very much, because I do want to present you guys with a challenge. The last time I did one of these, I challenged you guys to 150 likes on the video, but in today's video, I want to challenge you guys with 175 likes on this video. So if I do get 175 likes in this video, then I will be sharing with you guys a big announcement or update, whatever you want to call it. So let's get to 175 so I can share that with you guys. And again, thank you so much for your constant love and support. I love you guys, and until next time, doei!